Hello. Today we're going to answer the question, how do we find the line of best fit for a scatter plot? So first we have to ask ourselves, what is a scatter plot? A scatter plot is a graph of a set of data pairs. And data pairs are just your x, y coordinates. So what this would look like is if we had a graph, it's just a bunch of scattered data pairs. Whenever we're looking at scatter plots, we want to see what kind of correlation the points have with each other. If y tends to increase as x is increasing, we say that this has a positive correlation. If the y's tend to decrease as x increases, we would say that this has a negative correlation. And if the dots don't seem to have any kind of pattern at all, this has approximately no correlation. Then what we can do is we can use a line of best fit to show a correlation more clearly. So the line of best fit just goes right through the data pairs. It doesn't connect them like a connect the dots. It just shows their direction. A line of best fit shows the general direction that a group of points seems to be heading. And then what we do is we use that direction that it's heading to predict for the future. One important piece of a line of best fit is its correlation coefficient, which we denote by the letter R. It's a number that ranges from -1 to 1 that measures how well a line fits a set of data pairs. The stronger the correlation, the closer your correlation coefficient is going to be to either -1 or +1. If it's really close to -1, like -0.999, the points are going to lie very near the line with a negative slope. That might look something like this. If your data points are very clearly negative, and you could draw a line of best fit right through them. If it's +1, then the points lie near the line with a positive slope. So the closer to 1 that we get, these become almost as if they were a line themselves. Ooh, that was a bad example. Imagine that it's going right through those points. Here, I'll just add a few on this side. Now, if r equals 0, then the points don't lie near any line. So that's more whenever we just have some scattered points, and there's no real line of best fit that would work for these. All the points are pretty far away from our line. All right, so the best way to do this is we're just going to jump into an example. We're going to see if there's any correlation between the total fat in a sandwich and the total calories. Just looking at this, you might assume that these would have a positive correlation. As fat increases, calories increase. But we're going to see how closely these things are related using scatter plots. So the very first thing that we need to do is make some lists in our calculator. So what you need to do in a calculator is you go to the Stat button, and then the very first option is Edit. Once you're in here, you can just enter the total fat into list 1, hitting enter after each of these numbers, and the total calories into list 2. Once you have everything into the list, you're going to hit the Stat button again, and then scroll over to Calc. That's Calculate a Linear Regression, because we're trying to find the regression line. Okay, and then you'll hit enter twice, and it'll bring you here. So here we have y equals ax plus b, and they give us the a and the b. So our regression line is y equals 11.731x plus 193.85. But as we notice, we don't have that r. And to get the r, we have to turn on our diagnostic. So I'm going to go through those steps now. If you hit second catalog, and the catalog is right here at 0, you can scroll all the way down to diagnostic on and hit enter twice. Now once you've done that, you can go through the whole stat calculate linreg again, and now your screen should look something like this, where now we can see an r squared and an r. And for right now, we're going to ignore the r squared. Okay? And we're just going to focus on the correlation coefficient r. So again, our equation of our line of best fit is 11.731x plus 193.85 with the correlation coefficient of 0.975, which is a very high correlation coefficient. This is very close to +1, so these things are very closely related. Now, just like I was saying earlier, we can use this line to make predictions. So now I'm going to make a prediction for the number of calories in a sandwich that has 55 grams of fat. Well, in list 1 was our grams of fat, so that's our independent. All I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the x with a 55. I calculate that, and I see that a sandwich with 55 grams of fat would have something like 839.055 calories. So it's not really the healthiest thing that you should be eating. Now, I realize that you might not have a calculator at home, which is fine, but if you are on a computer, if you visit this website, there's a free downloadable virtual calculator for your computer. But other than that, you should be able to do all this in class. All right, and that's all for scatter plots.